Next, tragedy strikes, accidents happen. Be there when the calls come in. It's back-to-back episodes of Rescue 911. Next on Discovery Health Channel.
This is 911. Do you have an emergency?
Today on Rescue 911. What begins as an exciting whitewater adventure for 6 unsuspecting women becomes a terrifying trip down an icy river.
The water was just sucking me down in, and then it would just spit me up enough to get a breath of air.
Then,
We often don't know what we're capable of until a tragedy tests our limits. I'm William Shatner. Tonight, true stories of men, women, and children confronting situations they've never faced before on Rescue 911. We begin on July 3rd, 1990, in Valdez, Alaska, an area where nature's untamed beauty often attracts visitors with a sense of adventure.
Alaska is really incredible. It's just unbelievably beautiful. The wildness of it, the freedom of it.
All right, guys. Don't look nervous. Smile. All right.
It was supposed to be an hour of fun for the 6 friends, whitewater rafting down the low river. Chris Walker had organized the trip.
It was a beautiful day, and we got all suited up, and we were all just real happy and having a good time.
This is like when we used to put our snowsuits on when we were kids.
I was the only one out of the group that had rafted before, and we were all really excited about it.
The upstream tube wants to get sucked in by the river. And for some reason...
Kristen Ellingson did have some second thoughts about the outing.
The rivers here are frightening because they're cold. They usually run off of glaciers, and they can be fast and turbulent and lots of rocks. But I thought, well, okay, I'm not going to wimp out on my friends here.
We're going along, just enjoying the scenery. The water's getting rougher, and you know, it's getting fun and exciting.
The guide had warned us that going underneath the bridges was the hard part.
It seemed all of a sudden we were really going fast.
We came around a curve, and it started getting very turbulent. And the guide was yelling at us, "Dig in."
Somebody was yelling that somebody was under the raft.
I hung on to the raft for a long time. I felt like that was my only means of survival, but the current was pulling me too much, so I finally had to let go. The water was just sucking me down in, and then it would just spit me up enough to get a breath of air. The river was totally in control.
when we continue.
After 3 minutes in 36-degree water, you can see the first signs of hypothermia. When the core temperature drops too low, you can die.
The razor's edge between life and death with the people who walk it every day. Trauma, Life in the ER, tonight at 7 Eastern, only on Discovery Health Channel.
The guide and several of the rafters managed to make it to shore. Laura Bullock was one of the lucky ones.
The coldness just didn't hit me until I was actually out of the water. It was difficult just to climb up to the embankment.
Cindy Phelps was also swept into a shallow area at the river's edge.
By then, you're just so worn out. You're just exhausted from fighting with the river. You're going, I made it. I've come through this. I'm still alive.
But then I realized that Joan, Kristen, and Mary Lee were still in the water.
Mike Buck, who owned the rafting company, happened to be in the area on his way out of town.
As I was driving out the road, I thought, well, we got a 4 o'clock trip. I might see those guys as I drive through the canyon.
Oh my God.
All I saw was the people and no raft. It was just unbelievable to me. We'd only had one flip in 9 years.
Kristen missed it. I just thought, oh, she's missed her chance. You know, it just really put fear into me.
I yelled to come up and get in the van and drive me down the river. After 3 minutes in 36-degree water, you can see the first signs of hypothermia.
Once your body temperature starts to drop, you're going to start losing consciousness. You're going to start losing use of your limbs.
When the core temperature drops too low, you can die.
Okay, pull over this next corner.
The river's so fast, I knew I was going to have to use the kayak.
A member of a local kayaking team, Mike had competed in races internationally. This time, Kristen managed to grab a throw line.
As I started putting the spray skirt on, Mary Lee and Joan were floating by. Didn't even have time to put my life jacket or helmet on. I was a little worried about leaving her there. But Mary Lee was so far out ahead that I was just afraid that I might not find her.
After 10 minutes in the icy waters, 34-year-old Joan Tate was finally safe on dry land.
I continued to climb on up until I was completely out of the water. It took me a while to do that because my fingers were so numb. Once I reached the road, the van showed up.
Next, step inside the command center where the calls for help are answered and meet the real-life heroes who save lives. Stay tuned for another episode of Rescue 911. Next on Discovery Health Channel. Real life, medicine, miracles.
Mr. Shapiro, step out of the car, please.